Big news! BMW have teased details of the next generation M3 and M4. We've seen the videos, and honestly, I'm quite excited by them. I don't even mind that grille. And I also think that BMW should be praised for bringing us saloon, coupe, and convertible body styles, and a manual gearbox option. That's big. But that's not even the biggest M3 news by a long way. Oh no, because BMW have also confirmed, with a bit of a nudge and a wink, that it's going to make an M3 Touring, an M3 estate. Yes, thank you BMW. What took you so long? And also, have you not noticed the fact that everyone loves SUVs now? You kind of missed the boat on this one. Too little, too late. I mean, this is definitely going to flop, isn't it? Or will it? Well, let's try and be optimistic and look at why fast estates are a good idea in the first place. You see, back in the early 90s, before performance SUVs were a thing, I know, seems a long time ago, if you wanted pace and practicality, your only real choice was a hot hatch or a fast saloon. If you wanted anything bigger, you were kind of stuck. Now, there might have been a few fairly nippy estates out there, but buying one of those kind of meant you'd basically given up on life. Then Audi had one of its quirkier moments. I'm thinking it was maybe the result of a kind of drunken one-night stand between some Audi people and some Porsche people. Not like that, although maybe, because it kind of did result in something of an automotive love child. Basically, Audi took its turbocharged 5-cylinder engine and Avant body style, and Porsche had a little bit of a fiddle with the boost, chucked on some tasty brakes, wheels and mirrors off the 968 Club Sport, and bang, the first Audi RS model was born. Now, that car was the RS2 Avant, and in 1994, the idea of a 315 horsepower engine in a Porsche engineered estate car that could outdrag supercars was brilliant. Still is. Now, I'm not sure this is how exactly it went down, but I like to think of it like this. Maybe one day a guy from BMW M got smoked on the Autobahn by an RS2 and then went running back to the office and was like, yo, whatever the German is for yo, these Audi guys have gone nuts. We've got to do something about this. And someone somewhere must have listened, because around the same time, BMW built 900 M5 Tourings as a bit of an experiment. Cool car now, but it never quite set the world alight. I wonder, is that what's going to happen to this new M3 Touring? We'll come back to that. Anyway, fast forward from the 90s to the year 2000, and by now Audi is fully in the fast estate groove with its Cosworth-engined 380 horsepower B5 RS4 Avant, while AMG is literally squeezing V8 engines into C-Class estates. Good times. Back at BMW? What's the German for meh? Leave it in the comments below, because I think that was their response. Alright, it did build an M3 Touring, as in one M3 Touring, and they even let people drive it to gauge people's opinions. Look at it, it was gorgeous. But for whatever reason, it never actually made production. Maybe we just didn't shout loudly enough about it, or people just didn't like it. Probably what did for M and estate cars though was the E60 M5 Touring, the one with a mad V10 engine. People covet them now, but at the time, not so much. BMW sold 20,548 E60 M5s globally, and only 1,025 were Tourings. What's the German for never again? Because that's pretty much what they said. And yet, here we are, 10 years later, BMW is finally sounding all fired up about fast estate cars. But like I said, compared with performance SUVs, they sell in tiny numbers, and this tiny niche is pretty much owned by AMG and Audi. The C63 and RS4 are awesome cars, each with a loyal following, and for all the M3's incredible legacy, BMW is coming at this from zero. So 2 questions: why and how? The why probably comes down to pride. BMW M builds superlative sporting saloons and coupes. Just look at the latest M2 CS. I did a review of it right now on the site. Check it out up here. And I think it must kind of wind up the M guys to see their arch rivals having all the fast estate fun, while all BMW has to offer is 50 shades of performance SUV. Forget the business case. They want in on this party. Trust me. As for the how, well, let's take a look at the cars it has to beat and figure out what the M3 Touring has to do in order to stand out. Over 4 generations, the Audi RS4 has gone from turbo V6 to Revy V8s and then back again. It now uses a 2.9 litre V6 with 400 horses and 600 Newton meters of torque, meaning it'll hit 0 to 62 in 4.1 seconds and flat out 174 miles an hour. It looks the nuts. The Quattro 4-wheel drive system means you can enjoy all of that performance, whatever the weather, and it starts from just over £65,000. Although the Vorsprung one, with all the bits that you really want, well, that cost around £80,000. Then there's the Mercedes C63S, typical AMG, monster of a car with a 510 horsepower V8, an exhaust note that sounds like a lion being murdered, and a properly leery character. No 4-wheel drive, just all the power going to the rear wheels through a funky 9-stage traction control system that basically lets you dial in what shade of brown you want when you nail that throttle mid-corner. Now, just under 80 grand, it sells in small numbers. Like I said, Mercedes shift about 3 C63 saloons for every 1 wagon, but the people who buy them, I salute you. Now, where does that leave BMW? And is there really room for an M3 Touring? Well, maybe. See, we know the new M3 will use a version of the 3-litre twin-turbo straight-6 from the X3M and X4M. The entry-level one will have 480 horsepower and a manual gearbox, and the competition version will get 510 horsepower and an 8-speed automatic. Now, this starts out as rear-wheel drive, but get this, BMW have confirmed it will get xDrive all-wheel drive at a later date, and the smart money says that that will coincide with the arrival of the M3 Touring. Why does that put a smile on my face? Just imagine, you got the same power as the C63 wagon, but the all-wheel drive, all-weather performance of the RS4 in an M car with space for the kids, the shopping, even the dog can come along. And best of all, it's not an X3M. Now, here's what I'm really hoping for. That xDrive system, it's based on the one used in the M5. You know, the one where you can disengage the all-wheel drive system and send all of the power to the rear tires. An M3 Touring with over 500 horsepower and a switchable all-wheel drive system. That has my attention. Even if, based on its rivals, it's probably going to cost around £80,000. What do you guys think though? Is this a stroke of genius on BMW's part, or have they missed the boat? And should they have had the courage of their convictions when it tested the theory 20 years ago? Would you buy an M3 Touring or a fast estate's yesterday's news? Are we going to stick to quick SUVs? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and check back soon for more awesome videos just like this one. Peace.